The video I made this morning, I was crashing out a little bit, but I don't think I am alarmist at all. I think my outrage and my sense of dread, I think, is apropos. And I need to stress to people that the fundamental problem that a lot of whitey people and the overt white supremacists, as well as the undercover ones who don't know they're white supremacists, are having is that they believe a certain thing about America. But more centrally, it's not so much about America. Oh yeah, it's about America because for whitey people, the idea of America, the concept of America, the potential of America, and what they believe America stands for is wholly and completely fused to the concept of whiteness. You see, and whitey people need whiteness to be something that's good, something that's amazing, something that's awesome, something that's unassailably a force for good in the world. They need it to be something that's angelic for the Christians out there. The problem is whitiness got its perch of power, impugned its power on the world through some awful shit. And the problem for whitey people, all whitey people, is the existence or the persistent existence of black people. Yet again, we're in the midst of another episode of what happened in after Reconstruction. This is the 21st century post-Reconstruction. So I would say there was a Reconstruction after the Civil War, right, for 20 years. And then whitey people came in, didn't like seeing black people actually prove and show them and exist and thrive in direct contravention to their whitey supremacist views about black people being inferior, black people who would be so infirm that they would simply dwindle away and pass and unalive. So whitey people put their fingers on the scale violently and did ethnic cleansings and genocide against us and destroyed everything that that we built for ourselves. The late 20th, early 21st century Reconstruction was, I would say, that's after the Civil Rights Act, when black people were integrated into wider society, and despite the constant stumbling blocks and disadvantages placed on us, we continue to set the tone, set the standard, be the moral compass of this country, and set all the trends and thrive, and we actually persevere and we dare to exist. Our reproductive rate is greater than theirs. We dare to persist to exist, and a lot of us dare to show pure excellence despite being constantly under assault by the system, by the state, by the whitey supremacist gears of the society. And I dare say that our very existence, you look at a black person, any white black person you see, no matter where they hail from, whether they be Afro-Latino, African American, Caribbean, black, African immigrant, wherever you see a black person today, that's alive today, their existence, the existence blares loudly an indictment of the people who accepted the moniker of white, of the violence that they've perpetrated on us globally. And in a sense, our existence and our tendency these times, due to the internet and stuff, to tell our truths with no sugar, no lube, is kind of wrecking what whitey people consider the American experiment for them in their mind. There's a throwaway line that James Baldwin had in his famous debate in Oxford. Listen to it now.
We are trying to forge a new identity for which we need each other. And that I am not a ward of America. I am not an object of missionary charity. I am one of the people who built the country. Until this moment, there is scarcely any hope for the American dream, because the people who are denied participation in it, by their very presence, will wreck it. And if that happens, it's a very grave moment for the West. Thank you.
Go back and listen to that. Because as I said, their very presence, our very existence, our very persistent existence, and the awful, bloody truths that you will see in our flesh, that you see in our eyes, that you see in our collective psyche. It indicts whiteness as something way less than laudable. It indicts whiteness as, for those of you who are religious, demonic. Because only demonic people can do things like take little toddlers and use them for alligator bait. Only demonic people, only a demonic presence can think of lynching a pregnant woman, slicing the fetus out, and then putting a boot to the head of such fetus while roasting the mother alive. Only demonic people thought that it was okay to breed black people on farms for their literal consumption. Only demonic people, a demonic presence, thinks nothing of unaliving and quartering and dicing up the troublemakers on a slave ship and force-feeding the troublemaker to the other slaves, as an example. You know what I'm saying? Only demonic possessed or demonic present people think nothing of feeling that, of thinking that black people, don't feel pain and aren't human, while at the same time having those same black women breastfeed their own children. And at the same time having their way with those black women at their will, at the same time having laws had to be made to protect them from their own proclivities, called the Casual Unaliving Act, and they use the K Act. I mean, I could keep listing atrocities. Let's come to the modern era. Only demonic folks can arrest a Haitian immigrant and basically grape him in the bathroom with a broomstick, just for kicks. Only a demonic set of people could stop an African immigrant, tell him to produce his identification. When he pulls out his identification, he gets felled with 41 projectiles. You see, and this is what is going on here. That's just, I could keep naming things. This is just what's happening right now. And what's like Reconstruction, whitey people, swear they're tired of us insisting on telling our truths and abrogating the feel-good, chest-pumping sense of being white. You know, we're tired of truth, so they're coming in now, trying to gaslight us, going after everything that they think that they have perceived is for us. And they're going after universities and colleges, going after the African American Museum and other museums to literally remove the tangible exhibits that back up what we've been saying, what we've been taught, what we've been telling society. I mean, so yeah, what we're dealing with now, November 5th, 2024, is the end of the 20th, 21st century second Reconstruction for black people especially. And one thing I'll say, right, all you other non-whites, we brought you along with us for the benefits. We brought you along on our second Reconstruction. So you're wedded to us whether or not you believe it or not. You're tied to our fates whether or not you believe it or not. And we tried to warn you and you didn't listen. So what's happening now, these raids, these terroristic masked men with no IDs and stuff coming after you, and then we have white supremacist hate groups self-deputizing themselves in order to disappear and do awful things to black and brown people that they've always wanted to do. We warned you that this was going to happen and nobody listened. James Baldwin knew the truth. And I guess those of us in our generation now are learning that truth right now. They literally do not want us here. They literally do not want us here telling our truth, because if we're here, we're going to tell our truth. Oppressed people will never stop fighting against their oppressors. And what's happening is whitey people are failing at hiding the context of their oppression so that the actions of the oppressed seem incomprehensible. They're failing at doing that. And so the next option for them, because they cannot abide by that failure, is violence, is literal removal, literal erasure of us, especially black people, but other people of color who they never considered part of them. So that's what we're dealing with. And you know, the crazy thing about all this thing, it's the premise they're using, the raison d'etre for what they're saying, the raison d'etre for why they need to do what they're doing, is a farce. It doesn't exist. It is simply not factual. It is not a reality. But when you have a certain kinds of power, you have control over a society, you can make all your contrivances real. This, for those of you still stuck on it, this administration, this is what's going on. This is what we've always called racism. The power to collectively impugn your hate with real consequences, real repercussions on those that you hate. Collectively. Black people can be bigoted against whitey people, but black people collectively cannot do what whitey people are collectively doing to black people in this society right the fuck now. This is what racism is. And we're in the middle of our basically, we're at the end of our second Reconstruction right now. Have a good day.